This story is fictional. It's based on real events, but everything beyond the known facts is speculation. Our goal is to explore an alternate timeline, not to rewrite history, but to imagine what might have been.
Hantavirus does not announce itself. It moves quietly through fields and grain stores and the nests of deer mice waiting for contact. Every year in the United States, a small number of people, mostly rural, mostly working outdoors or in old buildings, breathe in air contaminated by infected rodent droppings and develop hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. Their lungs fill with fluid. Their blood pressure drops. In the worst cases, they die. The fatality rate sits between 35 and 40%, depending on the year and the strain. There is no vaccine, no proven antiviral cure. The only treatment is intensive supportive care, which buys time and sometimes saves lives. What keeps hantavirus from becoming something larger is not sophisticated. It is a chain: attentive rural healthcare workers, honest reporting, fast laboratory confirmation, contact tracing that moves faster than the patients do. That chain has held for decades. Held because cases stay rural, because the people exposed tend to stay in one place while sick, and because the virus does not transmit person to person. That last fact is why most epidemiologists have considered large-scale outbreaks unlikely. The virus needs a rodent reservoir. It needs close contact with contaminated materials. It does not hop from cough to cough on a subway car. But the system has always assumed it would see the cases coming. In the winter of this scenario, a cluster of hantavirus infections emerges among migrant agricultural workers at a large storage and packing facility in a rural county in the American Southwest. The facility has a known rodent problem. Workers have been sweeping and cleaning enclosed storage areas without respiratory protection. The first 3 men to fall ill present to a small rural clinic on a Friday afternoon with fever, muscle aches, and cough. The attending physician, managing an unusually heavy influenza season, diagnoses influenza A and sends them home with instructions to rest and return if symptoms worsen. But what if those 3 men do not return? What if 2 of them recover partially, enough to feel mobile? Emboard, shared transportation back to the urban areas where they live during the off-season. The 3rd man's condition deteriorates at home over the weekend. Unreported. The clinic closed. 2 weeks pass before the rural health department flags anything unusual. By then, the window has closed. The 2 workers who traveled carry the exposure, not the active infection. Hantavirus does not travel person to person, but they carry contaminated clothing and gear, and they return to crowded communal housing in a mid-sized southwestern city. They fall severely ill within days of arriving. Their housemates, 10 people in a 4-bedroom apartment, call emergency services when the first man can no longer breathe without assistance. The hospital admits him to intensive care with severe bilateral pneumonia and no clear diagnosis. The 2nd man ends up at a different hospital across town, presenting identically. Over the following 10 days, 7 more severe respiratory cases appear in the same neighborhoods. All of them have indirect links to the agricultural facility. Family members, neighbors, people who used the same shared vehicle or handled contaminated belongings. None of the treating physicians connect the cases to each other. Each hospital sees 1 or 2 patients. No one is running the picture across institutions yet. The state health department receives its first flagged report on day 14, by the time laboratory confirmation returns. For the first case, Hantavirus pulmonary syndrome. 4 of the 10 urban patients are dead, and 3 are on mechanical ventilation. The CDC activates its emergency operations structure and deploys a rapid response team. They arrive to a situation already 2 weeks old and geographically dispersed. Contact tracing identifies the agricultural facility as the source, but also turns up a secondary exposure web running through shared housing, 2 community health clinics, and a church that hosted a gathering attended by one of the original workers' relatives. The map of possible exposures covers most of a city of 800,000 people. The CDC issues guidance emphasizing that hantavirus does not spread person to person. This is accurate. It is also not the problem. The problem is that no one knows how many other people were exposed to contaminated materials before anyone knew to look. Public health messaging designed to reassure instead creates confusion. If it doesn't spread person to person, why are there cases appearing in the city? What aren't they telling us? The actual answer: the contaminated clothing and shared belongings created a secondary environmental exposure chain, is technically correct and epidemiologically precise. It lands in the public conversation as a cover story. Social media fills the gap between what officials know and what they can explain quickly. By week 4, the situation has crossed into something the emergency management infrastructure was not designed to handle, not because the virus became more dangerous, because the public response did. 3 hospitals in the metro area announced they are diverting ambulances after emergency departments fill with residents presenting with fever and anxiety. Elective procedures are canceled. Nursing staff begin calling in sick, some genuinely ill with unrelated winter illness, many simply afraid. State officials request National Guard support for logistics. The federal government invokes emergency declarations. International health authorities issue travel advisories for the affected region, and economic activity in the city contracts sharply as businesses close and workers stay home. The final case count from the urban cluster reaches 94 confirmed infections. 31 people die. That number is not the catastrophe. The catastrophe is the 6 weeks of healthcare disruption, the $4 billion in estimated economic loss, the 3 cardiac patients who died in ambulances diverted from overwhelmed ERs, and the long-term damage to public trust in the surveillance system that was supposed to catch exactly this. The agricultural facility is quarantined and decontaminated. New federal guidelines mandate rodent control audits at any facility employing 10 or more seasonal agricultural workers. A bipartisan congressional investigation into the 2-week reporting gap opens in the spring. The rural clinic physician, overworked, understaffed, managing 80 patients a week alone, is not charged with anything. The investigation finds no negligence. It finds something harder to fix. A system running at exactly the capacity required to handle normal conditions, with nothing left over for the moment normal conditions end.
In this world, history went one way. But here, we ask what could have happened. If you want more alternate timelines and government what-ifs, subscribe, comment your theory, and stay tuned. This is State of What If.